Today, I'm not only going to tell you exactly how much cardio that you should do while cutting, but I'm also going to tell you which form of cardio will get you the best results. Hey, it's Colin DeWay. If you want to master your metabolism and get in the best shape of your life, start now by subscribing today and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Alright, Monday I did a video covering exactly how many calories you need to adjust by while you're cutting, so if you missed that video, I will link it at the end of this one and make sure you check it out afterwards, but not until you watch this one first. But naturally, when it comes to how many calories you should cut, the next question is how much cardio should you do as well. But make sure you stay to the end of the video because I'm not only going to tell you how much cardio to start with, but how to make adjustments as well as which form of cardio you should be doing. Okay, let's start with what we know. We know that we need to create a calorie deficit to lose weight. And calorie deficit means eat less calories than you burn. So if consuming fewer calories is going to allow us to create a bigger deficit, adding more expenditure to create more calories out is going to create a bigger deficit. And cardio is the biggest factor that we have control of to be able to expend more calories. Now, I'm not going to go into a big thing about strength training versus cardio in this video. Just know that you absolutely should be doing strength training in your routine if you want to create the best possible results. The difference is strength training doesn't change whether you're cutting or not. Cardio does. Now, when it comes to how much cardio to do to start your diet, you have to remember that whatever you're currently doing is what your body has been adapted to. So say for instance, you're already doing 3 hours of cardio per week before you even start your diet. That's going to be your baseline before you add on more cardio. So if you're just starting your cut, hopefully your cardio isn't that high. So much like I told you in the last video that you want to be eating as many calories as possible while still seeing results, you also want to, within reason, be doing as little cardio as possible while seeing results. This is because the metabolism is very adaptive and we need to allow room for adjustments as things stall. You shouldn't necessarily do no cardio if you're not cutting. I do find that there's some benefits to have a little bit in, not only for just general health, but also work capacity and things like that. So doing 30-40 minutes of cardio a week is certainly reasonable. You just don't want to do too much unless you just really love cardio. As you lose more and more weight and your body adapts, you're going to have to do more and more cardio. So this is why you don't want to start with a super high amount. You want to be able to just make some increases to get things going again and leave room for down the road when you're going to have to be more aggressive. Trust me, I know it's super tempting to just do a ton of cardio right off the bat to try to like jumpstart your diet, but I'm telling you, it's a huge mistake. Do not do it. Don't do what a lot of people do and add like 3 or 4 hours of cardio per week right off the bat just to get things going. That's a really big increase, and like I told you Monday, if you start losing weight too fast, not only are you going to sacrifice more muscle, but your body's going to fight you hard as your metabolism adapts, and it's going to make seeing your long-term goals much more difficult to happen. I know it's not a popular topic, but slower weight loss will yield you better long-term results than faster weight loss. So anyway, when you start your cut, I typically recommend increasing your cardio by about 40 to 60 minutes per week, and this is also in conjunction with the calorie drop that you're going to make as well. Remember that this is an increase from whatever you were doing before. So if you were already doing an hour of cardio per week and you add an hour of cardio, you're now doing 2 hours of cardio for the week. And you can break up this cardio into smaller sessions if you'd like, and actually I typically recommend it. So maybe you only do 10 to 15 minutes of cardio 4 to 5 days a week, but if you haven't currently been doing any, this is actually going to be a pretty significant change and be more challenging than you think. And let me explain why I think shorter sessions are better. Say for instance you were doing 80 hours of cardio per week. If you were doing 2 40-minute sessions per week to get it in, you're still getting the 80 minutes of cardio, but it's a lot harder to push for 40 minutes than it is say 10, 15, 20 minutes. So while you may get 80 minutes per week doing 2 40-minute sessions, if you did say 4 20-minute sessions, you're going to be able to push harder during those 20-minute sessions than you would a 40-minute session, and therefore you're going to get more calorie burn by doing the same amount of cardio but breaking it into shorter sessions. Of course, just because this is what's most optimal doesn't mean it's necessarily right for you, and if you just prefer and enjoy longer sessions of cardio, by all means do that. And I think we also have to keep in mind what our schedules look like. It's just if you want to get the most bang for your buck, you're probably better off doing shorter sessions and maybe adding like 15 minutes of cardio at the end of your training sessions. One very overlooked factor when it comes to all things fitness related is how much we enjoy what we're doing. If you enjoy it, you're going to adhere better, and if you adhere better, you're going to see better results. We need to make sure whatever we can do is something that we'll be able to do more long term rather than just short bouts of something that we end up giving up on. Anyway, after you've made that initial adjustment, just like with the calories, you're going to keep that the same until your body adapts and until you hit that plateau, and then you're going to have to make some different adjustments. And I think it's important to remind you that we can't only look at scale weight. Make sure you're also looking at body composition, measurements, how clothes are fitting, things like that. Now, once things have truly plateaued, and they always will eventually, nothing will ever work forever, you basically have 2 choices when it comes to making a change and getting things going again. Actually, you have 3. You can either decrease your calories, you can increase your cardio, or some combination of the 2, which is what I typically recommend. So now maybe you make a 30-40 minute increase in cardio to your week and see if that gets things going again. If you're not making a calorie drop, you're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive with your cardio. If you wanna go with more of a calorie drop, then maybe you only add 20 minutes or don't even add any cardio at all and just make a bigger calorie decrease. For what it's worth, I actually find that decreases in calories are typically more effective than increases in cardio. It's just the body seems to be really good at adapting to additional cardio. So the more cardio you do, the less you get from it. So calorie decreases typically work a little bit better, but if you do a combination, that typically really gets things going pretty well. Then eventually the body's gonna adapt to this. You're gonna have to make more adjustments to get things going again, and so on and so on. So you see why you don't wanna do too much cardio right off the bat. You need room to grow. Now keep watching, because I'm not only gonna tell you what types of cardio you should do, but I'm also gonna tell you at the end of the video a very common mistake that a lot of people fall into, and I wanna make sure you don't do that. But first, one more thing. Truthfully, there isn't necessarily an upper limit of how much cardio you should do. You have to keep in mind what's gonna be realistic for you and your schedule. Not only that, but also how you're gonna feel doing that much cardio. But everyone's different. Like some people can reach their goals only doing about an hour of cardio per week. Other people are gonna have to do an hour of cardio per day to reach their goals. So everyone's unique. Keep in mind, the more extreme your goals are, the more you're gonna have to push, and you're gonna have to embrace some extra challenges that are gonna come your way. All right, so let's get into the types of cardio and which ones I think are best. The first options we have to look at is either steady state or HIIT cardio. Honestly, neither option is either right or wrong. It just kind of depends on what you prefer, but I do find that for the majority of people, they tend to do better by prioritizing steady state cardio over HIIT cardio. While HIIT cardio will certainly burn more calories in the amount of time that you do it, it's also much more fatiguing and harder to recover from. So if you end up doing a lot of HIIT cardio, other things are going to start to suffer, such as your training performance and your overall state and mood and how much you move around during the day and things like that. So you could be sacrificing additional calories burned in other areas just to get a little bit more out of a little bit less time. But some people just really enjoy HIIT cardio and would much prefer to do that over steady state, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you haven't been doing it, I wouldn't recommend adding more than one 20-minute session of HIIT, doing about maybe 3 to 6 intervals per 20 minutes. So the trade-off here is if you do more steady state, it's going to require more of your time, but it's a lot easier to recover from and it won't be so fatiguing. So you can do things like incline walking or biking or elliptical or light jogging without totally crushing yourself. And the longer you diet and the more weight you lose and the lower your calories are going to get, energy is going to be at a premium. So saving some of that with more steady state cardio instead of high demand, high intensity cardio is probably going to be better. Plus there's the added bonus that when you're doing steady state cardio, you're actually using fat as the primary source of fuel. Now that's not to say that you're not burning fat with HIIT. I'm not saying that at all, but that's for a different video altogether. Like I mentioned, there is a very common mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to increasing their cardio, and I want to make sure you don't fall for this. What happens is they increase their cardio, but they don't see better results and they can't figure out what's happening. Especially when it comes to doing more HIIT cardio and you get really tired and fatigued, you might end up trading calories from your NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, for additional calories from cardio burned. So NEAT is basically like your everyday activities. So what you do, like just kind of walking around, getting up, sitting down, getting stuff out of cupboards, and just your overall general movement. When you do a lot of cardio and you get really tired, a lot of times your NEAT will suffer because of this. Because you're so tired, you'll move around a lot less. So even though you increase your cardio and you burn more calories through cardio, you burn less calories throughout the day because you're lying around on the couch more and you're not moving around, and you thus have basically traded calories and your expenditure for the day ends up being the same, which is one more big reason why I typically prefer steady state cardio over HIIT. Now make sure you check out this video I did on how to adjust calories as you're cutting, and if you put that video together along with this video, you are on your way to a very successful cut.